The massive council chamber filled with thick air and growing anger. 3 long days had passed since the talks began. Ambassador Jake Morrison sat at the human table, his hands tight on the smooth metal surface. Across from him, 12 alien leaders looked down at the humans with cold eyes. The Zeltharian leader, Vorthak, had 4 arms and green scales that covered his body. His voice came out like a snake when he spoke. Your people ask for too much. You want mining rights in 3 star systems. You want to make your own trade deals. You want your own army. This is crazy talk for such a young race. Captain Lisa Hayes sat next to Morrison. She was a strong woman with short brown hair and sharp blue eyes. She had fought in many battles for the council. Now she leaned forward and spoke clearly. We have been part of this council for 15 years. We fought your wars. We saved your people. We only ask for the same rights you give to races that are younger than us. The bug-like Krillian made clicking sounds with his mouth. The translation device turned his words into cruel laughter. Humans think they are special. You are too violent. You cannot be trusted with real power. Morrison felt his anger rise like fire in his chest. For months, the humans had sat in this same room. They had listened to the same insults. They had watched alien races with tiny populations get rich from trade, while human colonies struggled to buy basic supplies. He thought about the farming world where his brother lived. The alien. Traders paid almost nothing for human crops. But when humans tried to sell to other races, the council said no. They made rules that helped aliens and hurt humans. Morrison looked at the alien faces around him. Some had too many eyes. Others had no eyes at all. But they all shared the same look when they stared at humans. It was the look adults gave to children who asked for cookies before dinner. We built your communication systems, Morrison said, his voice getting louder. Our ships patrol your borders. Our farmers feed your worlds. Our doctors heal your sick. But you still treat us like we are nothing. Vorthak's scales turned darker. This was how his people showed anger. You do what you are told to do. That is how young races learn their place. Morrison felt something break inside him. He had spent his whole life trying to make peace between humans and aliens. He had smiled when they insulted his people. He had said sorry when humans defended themselves. He had begged for scraps while aliens ate from full plates. No more, he said, standing up fast. His chair fell backward with a loud crash. The sound echoed through the quiet chamber. Captain Hayes, tell our people to pack up. We are going home. Hayes smiled for the first time in days. Yes, sir. The alien leaders looked shocked. Their faces showed confusion and worry. They had never seen humans walk away before. Ambassador Morrison, Vorthak said, his voice carrying a warning. You cannot just leave. We have not finished talking. The council has ways to make races cooperate. Morrison stopped walking and turned around. His eyes were cold as winter ice. Are you threatening us? The chamber became very quiet. Even the air seemed to stop moving. The other alien delegates moved in their seats. They looked uncomfortable and scared. Vorthak's 4 arms spread wide. His claws came out of his fingers. Take my words, however. You want human. Morrison stared at the alien leader for a long moment. He thought about all the human soldiers who had died protecting alien worlds. He thought about the human scientists who had shared their discoveries for free. He thought about the human children who would grow up as second-class citizens in their own galaxy. We are done here, Morrison said. His voice was calm, but filled with steel. Hayes, get everyone. We leave now. Captain Hayes stood up and pressed a button on her wrist device. All human personnel report to the transport bay. We are departing immediately. The other humans in the chamber began to gather their things. They moved quickly but without panic. They had been soldiers and diplomats, for too long to show fear now. As they walked toward the door, Morrison heard whispers behind him. The aliens were talking in their own languages, but he could hear the worry in their voices. This is a mistake, called out the Altarian delegate. Her voice sounded like singing, but her words were sharp. You need the council more than the council needs you. Morrison stopped at the door. He did not turn around when he spoke. We will see about that. The heavy doors closed behind the humans with a final sound. In the chamber, 12 alien leaders sat in silence. For the first time in many years, they did not know what would happen next. Vorthak looked at the empty human chairs. His scales were still dark with anger, but something else was growing in his chest. It felt like the first cold wind before a storm. The human delegation walked through the station corridors toward their ships. Other aliens stopped to watch them go. Some looked curious, others looked worried, a few looked scared. Morrison did not look back. He had spent too many years looking backward, trying to fix problems that could not be fixed. Now it was time to look forward. Behind them, the Galactic Council sat in their chamber and tried to understand what had just happened. They had always thought humans needed them. Soon, they would learn how wrong they had been. 3 days after the delegation's departure, the true scope of humanity's response became clear. Admiral Ben Parker stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching as the last human ships departed Nexus Station, the Council's primary hub. "Sir, we're receiving frantic communications from Station Command," reported Lieutenant Amy Chen from her communications post. "They're requesting we maintain our patrol routes." Parker smiled grimly. "Tell them our patrol routes are no longer their concern. All human vessels are to return to Sol space immediately." Across human space, the withdrawal was swift and comprehensive. Trade ships that had been carrying goods between Council worlds suddenly changed course. Research vessels sharing data with alien partners went silent. Military units that had been protecting Council territory began the journey home. On the agricultural world of Kepler 442b, farmer Pete Williams received the evacuation order with mixed feelings. His wheat had been feeding 3 alien colonies, but he'd been paid a fraction of what the grain was worth on human worlds. "Pack it up, Mary," he told his wife as she emerged from their farmhouse. "We're going home." Similar scenes played out across dozens of worlds. Dr. Kate Johnson, who had been working on a joint medical research project with the Altarians, quietly copied her files and prepared to leave. Her research on cellular regeneration had been benefiting alien medicine for years, but her requests for reciprocal knowledge sharing had been repeatedly denied. The Council's reaction was swift panic. Emergency sessions were called as reports flooded in of human departures from every sector. "This is impossible," sputtered Counselor Thex of the Meridian Collective. "They can't simply leave. We have treaties, agreements." Vorthak's confidence was visibly shaken. "It's a bluff. They'll return within a week, begging for readmission." But as days turned into weeks, the exodus continued. Humans packed up research. Stations abandoned mining operations they'd been running for Council benefit, and recalled every ship, every citizen, every trace of their presence from Council space. 6 months passed since the humans left. The Galactic Council met in emergency session again. This time, the mood was very different. Fear filled the air like smoke. Council analyst Marin Ka stood before the 12 leaders. Her tentacles shook as she held the data pad. The numbers on it told a terrible story. "Trade has dropped by 40%, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Food shortages affect 23 worlds. Industrial production has fallen by half. But the worst news is about defense." She pressed a button. Holographic displays showed empty space where human patrol ships used to be. "Pirate attacks have increased by 900%. The Void Raiders are back. They are attacking worlds they had not touched for 15 years. General Zilch, the military commander, looked older than his 150 years. His 6 eyes were tired and red. "We sent our own ships to replace the human patrols. We lost half of them in the first month." "How?" demanded Vorthak. His scales had stayed dark for weeks. "Our ships are bigger than human vessels. We have more weapons." Zilch pulled up battle reports. The humans were not just patrolling. They were preventing wars before they started. They knew which pirates worked together. They knew when raids were being planned. They had information networks we never knew existed. The room fell quiet. For 15 years, they had thought humans were following orders. Now they learned that humans had been doing much more than anyone realized. "There is more bad news," said Marin Ka. "Our technology is breaking down. The quantum communication network is failing. Messages that took seconds now take hours. Some outer worlds have lost contact completely. Counselor Thex clicked his beak nervously. Send repair teams. We tried, Marinka replied. Our engineers cannot fix the human-built systems. The technology is too advanced. We do not understand how it works. Dr. Velka, the council's chief scientist, stepped forward. She was a tall, thin alien with silver skin. I have studied human technology for years. I thought I understood it. I was wrong. She activated another hologram. It showed complex machines and computers. The humans gave us their old technology. They called it basic systems. We thought they were being generous. Now I realize they were protecting their real secrets. What do you mean? Asked Vorthak. Their basic systems are more advanced than our best technology. The computers in human hospitals are faster than our military supercomputers. Their farming equipment is more efficient than our industrial machines. The implications hit the council like a physical blow. If human basic technology was superior to their advanced systems, what were humans really capable of? Reports from the outer colonies painted an even darker picture. Without human mediation, old ethnic conflicts had returned. The hegemony and the collective were fighting again. Trade wars had become shooting wars. The humans prevented 3 major conflicts this year alone, reported Intelligence Chief Sark 7. They solved border disputes before they became battles. They arranged trade deals that kept peace between hostile species. How did they do this? Asked Counselor Thex. Sark 7's mechanical voice carried what sounded like admiration. They studied us, all of us. They knew our histories, our cultures, our fears. They understood us better than we understood ourselves. The medical crisis was equally devastating. Human doctors had been working in hospitals across the galaxy. They had shared their knowledge freely, teaching alien physicians new techniques. Now, with humans gone, death rates were climbing. Human surgical methods saved millions of lives, reported Chief Medical Officer Zenra. We tried to continue their procedures, but we do not have their skill. We do not have their equipment. People are dying who would have lived if humans were here. The food crisis was getting worse daily. Human agricultural techniques had revolutionized farming on dozens of worlds. Their crops grew faster, produced more food, and resisted diseases that killed alien plants. The humans taught us their farming methods, said Agricultural Supervisor Nex 9. We thought we learned everything. But our crops are failing. The yields are dropping. We are missing something important. As the reports continued, a frightening picture emerged. Humans had not just been participants in galactic civilization. They had been its foundation. They had quietly solved problems, prevented conflicts, and supported systems that everyone else took for granted. How long have they been protecting us? Whispered Counselor Thex. Sark 7 consulted his files. Based on our analysis of prevented conflicts, stopped pirate raids, and resolved disputes, humans have been actively protecting the galaxy for at least 30 years, long before they joined the Council. But that is impossible, said Vorthak. 30 years ago, they were a new spacefaring species. They had barely left their home system. That is what they told us, replied Sark 7. Our intelligence now suggests they had been exploring space for much longer. They deliberately appeared weak and primitive. They let us think we were superior. The room erupted in shocked voices. Aliens spoke over each other in a dozen languages. The translation devices could barely keep up. Silence, roared Vorthak. When the room quieted, he continued. Are you saying the humans deceived us? Dr. Velka answered carefully. I believe they were being cautious. They studied us for decades before making contact. They learned our languages, our customs, our weaknesses. When they finally revealed themselves, they already knew exactly how to deal with each of our species. The final revelation came from the Exploration Division. Scout ships had been trying to gather intelligence about human space. What they found terrified everyone. Human territory has tripled in size, reported Exploration Chief Crix. They have built massive shipyards, research stations, and defensive platforms. But most disturbing of all, they are not alone. What do you mean? Demanded Vorthak. There are ships in human space from species we have never seen. Unknown designs, unknown technology. The humans have been building alliances while we thought they were isolated. The silence that followed was complete. Every alien in the room understood what this meant. While they had been treating humans as junior partners, humans had been building their own civilization. A civilization that might be far more advanced and powerful than anything the Council could imagine. "What have we done?" whispered Counselor Thex. No one answered, but they all knew. They had dismissed, insulted, and threatened the one species that had been keeping their civilization alive. Now they were alone and the darkness was closing in. 1 year had passed since the humans left. The Galactic Council chamber was half empty now. Several species had withdrawn from the Council to protect their own worlds. Those who remained looked tired and scared. Admiral Korath of the Hegemony, Defense Force, delivered the news that shattered their last hope. His voice shook as he spoke. "The Devourers are moving again. They have taken 7 star systems in the Outer Rim. Without human early warning networks, we did not see them coming." The Devourers were an ancient nightmare. They were machines that ate entire planets, turning worlds into metal and energy. For 50 years, the Council had kept them contained. But that containment had depended on human technology and human ships. "How long until they reach the core worlds?" asked Vorthak. His proud voice was now barely a whisper. 12 months, maybe less," Korath replied. "Our defense fleet is scattered. Half our ships are broken, we cannot stop them alone." The chamber erupted in panicked voices. Species that had mocked humans now faced extinction without human protection. The irony was not lost on anyone. But the news from human space was even more frightening. Scout Captain Vix had just returned from a dangerous mission to spy on human territory. What he reported made everyone's blood run cold. "Human space has expanded beyond our maps," Vix said, his 3 eyes wide with fear. "They control sectors we did not even know existed. But that is not the worst part." He activated a holographic display. It showed massive structures floating in space. Ships larger than space stations moved between them like schools of fish. "They have built something called a dimensional barrier around their territory. Our sensors cannot see through it. We do not know how many ships they have. We do not know how advanced their weapons are. We know nothing." Counselor Thex made a sound like a dying bird. "How is this possible? 1 year ago we thought we knew everything about human capabilities." "We knew nothing," replied Dr. Velkob bitterly. "The humans showed us what they wanted us to see. While we were looking down on them, they were building an empire." The intelligence reports painted a picture that terrified everyone. Humans were in contact with dozens of unknown species. Trade ships from races the Council had never heard of regularly entered human space. The isolated young species had somehow built alliances across 3 galaxies. "They are creating their own galactic civilization," whispered Intelligence Chief Sark 7. "While we were debating whether they deserved basic rights, they were networking with species that make us look primitive." The final blow came when long-range sensors detected construction projects in human space. The images showed shipyards that dwarfed anything in Council territory, space stations larger than moons, defensive platforms that used technology the Council could not understand. "How long were they hiding their true strength?" demanded Vorthak. "The question," said Admiral Korath quietly, "is not how long they hid their strength. The question is, what do we do now that they are no longer protecting us?" A new report arrived that made everything worse. The Void Raiders had formed an alliance with 3 other pirate groups. Together, they were attacking Council worlds with impunity. Without human patrols, the pirates moved freely through space. "They are targeting our weakest colonies first," reported General Zilch. "The same colonies that humans used to protect. It is like the pirates know exactly where our defenses are weak." "Because they do know," said Sark 7 grimly. "The pirates have been studying us for years. The only thing that stopped them was fear of human retaliation. Now that fear is gone, the medical crisis had become a catastrophe. Diseases that human doctors had easily treated were now killing thousands. Surgical techniques that humans had taught alien physicians were failing because the aliens lacked human precision and knowledge. "We are dying," said Chief Medical Officer Zenra simply. "Our people are dying from diseases that should be easily cured. We need human medical knowledge. We need human doctors. Without them, our death rates will double within 6 months." The agricultural disaster was equally severe. Crop failures were spreading across the galaxy. Worlds that had fed billions with human farming techniques were now struggling to feed their own populations. "The humans did not just teach us their methods," explained Agricultural Supervisor Nex 9. "They gave us modified seeds, special fertilizers, and pest control systems. Without regular supplies from human agricultural worlds, our crops are reverting to their natural low yields. Famine was beginning on 17 worlds. Food riots had started on 6 more. The Council's attempts to redistribute food were failing because their transport networks depended on human logistics systems. As the reports continued, the full scope of human involvement became clear. They had not just participated in galactic civilization. They had created it. Their technology, their knowledge, their diplomatic skills, and their protection had made the Golden Age possible. "We thought we were the advanced species teaching primitive humans," said Dr. Velka. "The truth is that humans were advanced beings who chose to help us grow. We were their students, not their teachers." The most terrifying revelation came last. A coded transmission had been intercepted from the edge of human space. When decoded, it contained a simple message that chilled everyone to the bone. "The children are no longer safe. The adults are coming home." "What does it mean?" asked Counselor Thex. Sark 7's mechanical voice was flat with defeat. "We believe it means humans have been holding back their true civilization to protect us. Now that we have rejected them, they are preparing to reveal their real power." Long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures from human space. Ships were moving, but not toward Council territory. They were heading in the opposite direction toward unknown regions of space. "They are not coming back," whispered Vorthak. "They are moving away from us completely." The final understanding hit the Council like a physical blow. Humans had not needed them. Humans had not been learning from them. Humans had been patiently teaching a galaxy of children how to be civilized. Now the children had misbehaved, and the adults were leaving them alone in the dark. "What do we do?" asked Counselor Thex. The chamber fell silent. Outside the windows, alien ships moved slowly through space, trying to patrol routes that had once been perfectly secure. But everyone could see the truth now. Without humans, they were not an advanced galactic civilization. They were frightened children hiding from monsters they could not defeat. The talks had not just ended abruptly, they had revealed which species was truly mature enough to lead. And it was not any of the species sitting in the Council chamber. The age of human patience was over. Now came the age of consequences.